Hey guys, Baddies Africa episode 2 review slash recap. Before we get started, I need to let y'all know that from June to July, I'm going to be taking a class on top of also working, and I'm going to be traveling. So if I don't get it done early in the week, do not harass me in my comments. I have a life too. I will always make sure that I get the Africa and Gone Wild episode up during the week that it drops before the next Sunday. So anyway, let's get started with episode 2. So Ahna and Natalie fought. Ahna tore Natalie up. She told Natalie she just got beat up by a 24-year-old. And it's like, Natalie, Ahna is 90, 100 pounds soaking wet. You've been in the game for 15 years. You the biggest OG, like Ahna said. You never could fight. But it's like, okay, after 15, 20 years in the game fighting on reality TV, you still ain't learned nothing. You can't even handle a little girl like Ahna? So Natalie goes over to Stunna Girl, gives her a high five, and says, oh, we both her ops, we both her ops. And then she starts telling Ahna that she's going to get effed up every day this season. So Anna's kind of getting pushed to the back. She's telling Natalie she's a cool girl, telling Stunna that she's a prostitute. And then once Ahna is in the back, Stunna Girl is basically like, I just expected more from somebody who's been talking about me for 3 years. I expected her to be on what I was on, but I don't know why I'm surprised because she not built like me anyway. And then Stunna Girl gonna sit there and lie to Natalie talking about you got up on her. Stunna Girl, stop lying. Natalie ain't do nothing with Ahna. Natalie looked so happy when Stunna Girl told her that, like she felt validated. But it's like, girl, she just lied to your face. You got beat up. But anyway, Ahna comes back out. Her and Stunna Girl square up. They end up going 4 rounds. I will say that the security was not letting them fight. Every time they really got on each other, they let them fight for like 5 to 10 seconds and immediately broke it up. So it was kind of stupid. The 4 rounds still really wasn't nothing. But even with the rounds being short, y'all know Stunna Girl is one of my favorite baddies, like from Baddies West, the actual season she was on. But this was a complete disappointment. She got beat up. I could like somebody and tell the truth and not be biased about the fact that they lost the fight. She lost bad. And it's really surprising to me because on the Baddies West reunion, Stunna Girl kept up with Rolly. Like, she was getting hits in on Rolly face. But on this fight with Ahna, all she was doing was running, trying to rush Ahna and charge at Ahna because she's bigger than her. So trying to use her weight and trying to grab and back her into that counter. But Ahna was punching. She did a little bit of grabbing, but when she was grabbing, it was like to grab with one hand and then use the other hand to punch. So it's like in that second round, she was uppercutting Stunna Girl and everything. Like, girl, you lost. So Stunna Girl definitely was online lying. At first, I thought they both was lying and it was a tie. But no, she actually lost. Ahna definitely took some fighting lessons from Tasiki. She said Tasiki told her no grabbing, no pulling hair, straight punches from the shoulders. And she feel like her fighting has gotten better from that. Biggie should have took them lessons as well because she needed them more than Ahna. Now that 4th round, it looked like Ahna kind of put her foot to Stunna's face or her head. And after that round, that's when we saw this leaking all over Stunna Girl's arm that you could see right here. And you could see that she was trying to readjust that scarf so that her forehead was covered. Because remember the night before, Ivory was saying that she was hitting Stunna Girl with her phone and that she had left a gash on Stunna Girl's forehead when Stunna Girl and her friends jumped Ivory. Stunna Girl denied that it happened, but Ahna and Ivory was saying that Ahna reopened it. So it does look like when she kicked Stunna in the head or the face that she reopened the gash. Stunna's head was leaking and it leaked out onto her arm as well. And it looked like she was just leaking all over the place. She's trying to say it was just a scratch. Ain't no scratch causing that much leakage. Stunna Girl was being extremely delusional, telling Ahna you didn't win. You really think you won right now? It's like, girl, you definitely lost. Like, Ahna won. You win some, you lose some. It's okay. And we already knew that you didn't have the best hands. You more tough because of the people that you have around you and the energy that the people you be with will bring and the type of people you could rally around yourself. Not really because of anything you do specifically. So Stunna and Natalie go in the bathroom. Stunna Girl's being delusional, talking about why y'all keep saying I was bleeding or I was leaking. No, I wasn't. Anna's out there laughing, talking about I really thought Stunna was going to come and beat me up. So Natalie's basically hiding in the bathroom. She says she's not coming out the bathroom right now. She's done talking to Ahna. She's ready to get on the flight to Africa. And she advises Ahna to not take that 14-hour-long flight because her services are no longer needed and she won't be filming with her or she won't be allowed to film on the show. So we're going to see if we see Ahna on the show. Like, is she actually going to get filmed in Africa or not? Because from what we saw online, she was being left off the flyers and stuff when they went to hostings. But then we would see people like fans taking videos and she was in the club. But I don't know if the cameras were capturing her. You know what I mean? Because realistically, they say Ahna been around since Baddies South. But we never saw her captured on the cameras until she actually came on the show for Baddies East. So Stunna Girl was like, no marks, I'm good, I'm out of here. And Ahna was like, yeah, what the F is a Markietta? Because I guess that's what Stunna Girl was calling her. And then when Stunna Girl was leaving out, she was like, oh, they trying to send medical at me. You know, I guess the Zeus medics was coming to her about the leakage. And she was like, I don't need no medical. She was like, I get active. And then on her way out of the door, her and Ahna was still going back and forth. Stunna Girl was still denying that she was leaking. And that was the end of her. Then we get a little transition to show us that we are now going to be in Cape Town, South Africa. We see Rolly and Natalie in a car, and they're headed to the new Baddies Africa house. So Rolly said that it was requested that she not be at the dinner with Stunna Girl. Remember how Krishan said that Ahna and Biggie couldn't come to her dinner last season? So it was the same kind of thing. And Natalie was like, yeah, I don't understand why. I don't even know you and Stunna Girl to have beef for real. And Rolly was like, yeah, we really don't have beef. And it's like, unless y'all talked it out, y'all do still have beef. The last time y'all basically saw each other or was around each other like that, which I just rewatched Baddies West, y'all basically had beef the whole season almost. At the end of the season, you said she was your least favorite baddie. Y'all fought at the reunion. And then the next season, Stunna Girl came on Baddies East for like one episode and left. So no, I'm sure she don't really like you like that or trust you, especially when now you and Ahna done got so cool. So Natalie said Ahna was on her New York BS. She kept telling them SMD, and she said Ahna need to shut the F up before her and Stunna drag her all around this restaurant. Ahna beat both of y'all up. Like, I know Rolly was probably laughing when she saw the episode, like, Natalie just be lying to me, child, acting like she won these fights. That's why I gotta be there. And Rolly really starting to get on my nerves. I don't know what's going on with her this season, why she's, like, up under Natalie so much, being, like, a Chinyan OG, like Scotty used to be low-key. The first episode, you was running behind Natalie and defending her with the Scotty and Ahna situation, and then Natalie slammed the door in your face and said, thanks, but no thanks. And now this episode, she's talking about, oh, these girls are entitled. They want to fight Natalie on the show, but then they call her when they need her, this, that, and the third. Like, the Rolly I know was always the person who was stepping up to call out Natalie on her BS. Even last season, you were still doing that. So I don't know what's going on with you now, but please cut it out. Then they start talking about Diamond, and Natalie says she's over Diamond and her clout chasing, and Rolly gonna say, yeah, I know that's how some people gotta make their money, but I wouldn't expect a woman to be clout chasing. What do you call going on Jerry Springer and rolling around in Alfredo sauce to get yourself out there and try to become famous? I would say that's an extreme level of chasing clout, and that's something that you've done. Like I tell y'all all the time, a lot of people be saying I'm biased. I don't feel like I'm biased. Yes, I have my favorites. Like Rolly is one of my favorites, but I'm never afraid to call any of them out when they start getting on my nerves for real. So then we see Dolly, Summer, and Lex getting on one of the baddie buses with three newbies, Fauna, Cole K, and K Rican. So when they first get on the bus, they're simply just introducing themselves to one another. And then Summer starts to ask them, well, do you like the trio? Like, do you like us from watching us on the show? So Cole K was like, you know, I respect the loyalty between y'all. So then Dolly asked them, do they already have beef with anybody coming into the house? Cole K says she has beef with DTB, which I already told y'all before. She has beef with DTB and Tink about the whole it's a real baddie party. You cannot get in with my baddie friends, da-da-da-da-da. That song that they made was a remake of another song, and apparently it was a God song, and Cole K was like the original person who made a female version, and her female version went viral years ago. She said it has 40 million views. So when Tinkerbella and Diamond came out with a female version, she felt like they was copying her. And then Diamond basically said, I don't know who she is, which offended Cole K. So Dolly sitting there lying, talking about, yeah, we don't F with DTB either. I just beat her up in Atlanta after I finished beating Ivory up. First of all, Dolly, you didn't beat Ivory up. Second of all, did Dolly and DTB even fight? I thought DTB fought Summer. Then Dolly proceeds to tell Cole K, oh, I'm a fan of your music. I've been listening to your music for years. Me and my friends got locked up off your music, like basically saying they was fighting to that music, I guess. And she was like, yeah, your song from 8 years ago is a banger. So it's like, girl, you're a fan of her. So I'm going to just jump ahead a little bit because I know at this point most of y'all done seen the episode. So of course we know that Dolly, Lex, and Summer are going to end up fighting these three newbies. But like I said, Dolly just told Cole K she's a fan of her music. And then 5 minutes later, you're going to end up fighting her. Same way Summer came in on Midwest saying she was a fan of Jazz's music, but then was beefing with Jazz the whole season. And the same way Lex was a fan of Ahna and was screaming for Ahna at the auditions when Ahna got out the car, and you admitted that you used to watch the show and you liked the show. And Jayla said that off camera you was trying to be her friend saying that you liked her, but you was just doing it for the cameras and for a storyline, you know, saying she was a bully and everything. you wanted to fight J-Lo on the show. So it's like all three of them are giving fan. Like Summer, Dolly, and Lex. It's like I'm starting to see why the three of y'all really are friends. Y'all all fans of people, but y'all low-key be jealous of the people that y'all fans of. So then when you get a chance to get around them, it turns into beef and jealousy and hatred. So Dolly was basically telling them Ivory is a snake and a snake always sheds its skin. And then Summer was like, we not going to tell y'all who to be friends with in the house. Y'all should make y'all own opinions and y'all own decisions. But at the end of the day, if anybody go against me or my bees, I'm on that. And Fauna basically was like, well, Summer, I'm going to just say my opinion on you or the way I feel about you is that sometimes you be talking and just saying what's on your mind, but you don't really be meaning it. You just be running your mouth and you just be talking. Summer got offended by that and was like, no, I mean what I say and I say what I mean. But you be apologizing for half the stuff you say. Just like you apologize for what you said about Slim Dad at the reunion. And you now apologizing for what you said about Emmett Till on this episode that just aired. So clearly you do just be talking and you don't really be meaning what you say. At least that's what you be telling us. So you shouldn't have got offended by what Fauna said. Unless you really do be meaning what you say and those apologies be BS. And Dolly is just so stuck on this trio thing. She basically was like, okay, so y'all effing with the trio. And they was like, yeah, we effing with y'all. Like everything seemed cool. But then Dolly says to them, so y'all three came in with y'all own alliance. Like y'all a trio. And they was like, yeah, well, these my girls. You know, like we cool. And Dolly was like, okay, but you know we the original trio, right? So they like, okay, like they not even really thinking about being a trio or like labeling themselves as that. It's not that serious to them as it is to Lex, Summer, and Dolly for whatever reason. Because y'all not even the original trio anyway. Ahna, Biggie, and Tasiki are. So Fauna said something to Summer like, oh, you don't remember me from the auditions, huh? And Summer was like, no, I don't. So I feel like something happened between Summer and Fauna at the auditions probably. And Lex was basically like, yeah, I remember you. I remember you. So I guess Summer, Lex, and Fauna might have been in the same room. So then Summer started calling her Fanta and was basically like, it's going to be whatever I want it to be. Fanta Strawberry. I'm going to call you whatever I want to call you. So Cole K was like, oh, you're not going to be talking to my girl like that, telling her you're not going to respect her name. And she popped on Summer. So then Fauna steps up and she's like, you're not about to keep fighting my girls because of my name. She hit Summer. So they fighting on the sprinter. We kind of going to skip over a lot of this because y'all know with these fights in the sprinter, nobody is really getting to nobody. But clearly it became trio versus trio. K. Rican said we wasn't even coming in labeling ourselves as a trio, but since y'all so pressed about it, now we are going to call ourselves a trio. Lex kept talking about what's going on, but then of course when stuff got too crazy, she jumped in to help Summer and Dolly. I see a lot of people saying they feel bad for Lex because she's aligned with these unproblematic girls and she just got to be loyal to them, this, that, and the third. Much as y'all think she's not as problematic as them, I really think she's just like Summer and Dolly. That's why she's friends with them. Birds of a feather truly do flock together. And there's also a way to be friends with people who might be problematic, but be that person who's always there to check them and let them know that they're being problematic and saying it out loud. She doesn't do that either. She never checks them. So I don't know what y'all feeling bad for Lex for. She chooses to be with these girls and do what she does. So eventually they get Lex, Summer, and Dolly off the bus because they like, there's no way we're going to be able to get to the house with these girls continuing to fight on the bus like this. But when they get off, Summer and Dolly go and open the back of the van and basically try to attack K. Rican, Cole K, and Fauna. So when Fauna saw that the back was open, she got up and she was like, oh, hell no, get us off this bus. Y'all letting them open the back on us. You know, they felt set up like the security and production is favoring Summer, Lex, and Dolly because how y'all going to let them open the van and we in the car? Summer telling somebody F their mom. So once again, she talking about people parents, what she just apologized to Slim for. Then Cole K spits out of the car at Summer. I did not like that. And then K. Rican starts throwing her water at Summer. Then we cut to a different set of baddies getting on a different baddie bus. So we got Scotty, Ivory, DTB, Pretty P, Tavii Baby or Tavii Baby, Russian Cream, and LCK. So Scotty says she's excited to get to know these new girls as well as some of the girls from last season that she didn't have a chance to get to know as well or connect with as much. Russian Cream basically asked, is this everybody's first time in Africa? She said she's been to Lagos before and she didn't like it. So then Scotty asked Tavii, you know, what's your name? You're the one that's from Brooklyn, right? And she was like, okay. So then DTB stands up and she's like, oh, so you the B that thought we was all entitled, right? And Tavii Baby was like, yeah, that is me. What's up? So DTB said in her confessional, she's really not feeling these newbies. Like she's not really being talkative or friendly with them because she know that Natalie is going to have some chinions on the cast for her. And Tavii Baby was already online talking mess about her. So Tavii was like, you mad about my opinion? I'm a viewer just like everybody else, and I gave my opinion online, and because you chose to respond, it got me casted for the show. And she said, you the ultimate troll, so why you mad at somebody else for trolling you back? Charge it to the game. So her and DTV start trying to fight, start trying to get to each other. Scotty saying, come on, y'all, it's not that serious. I don't want y'all to fight over opinions. Ivory saying, y'all need to chill. It's a time and a place. Like, y'all need to wait until we get off this small sprinter. LCK is in her confessional talking about, I don't know why DTV thinks we're Natalie's Chinians, but carry on. Girl, bye. So one of the producers came and she was like, everybody have a seat. Everybody have a seat. Ivory, DTV, everybody immediately sat down. The people in the comments said that was Ashley. You know, the one that Jayla was talking about was setting her up to get jumped and stuff. They said Ashley don't play. So then it cuts to right here. They're going to let Dolly, Summer, and Lex get back on the bus because at the end of the day, they all do need to ride on the same bus in order for them to all get to the house. So Summer is like, yeah, these girls going to think it's cool when we get on the bus, but I'm on that. But as soon as they get back on the bus, before Summer could even do anything, the new three is on that. Fauna is throwing stuff. Cold K is grabbing her food. She was about to throw it. The security guard put her hand on that food like, girl, no, I am not cleaning that up. So Summer spit back at Cold K. Y'all already know how I feel about Summer. She's disgusting to me for more reasons than one. But I am going to be fair. Cold K spit first, which is why I said, obviously, I didn't like that either. So Fauna was telling Summer, lean your face in a little bit, lean your face in a little bit. And then she was swinging at Summer and she was like, mink, mink, mink. Summer was like, mink where? I'm not really sure if Fauna was actually connecting with her minks to Summer or not. So then back on the other bus, we see Ivory and Pretty P telling the girls about the situation that happened with Lex, Summer, and Dolly, stealing Pretty P stuff. Basically saying they're bums, they're thieves, y'all need to watch out. And Scotty said, and forget about the watches, the money, and the purses. Summer ain't got nothing. She'll steal your underwear. So hide your stuff. So Ivory asks DTV how she feels about Natalie right now. She says, F Natalie. Russian Cream asks, what's really the beef with you and Natalie? I didn't understand why y'all had a problem. DTV said Natalie been hating on me since I stepped onto the baddie scene when I got on Caribbean. She kept calling me a clout chaser, saying that I act like Ann Moore and I look like Ann Moore. DTV kept talking about all the stuff Natalie said about her. Natalie mentioning her tampon string hanging out on one episode when they were in the club. Scotty was in her confessional basically saying, I do understand why DTV feels disrespected by Natalie. She should feel disrespected by Natalie. But Scotty also said that she feel like some of the stuff that DTV is mad about is simply Natalie doing her job as an EP. And DTV was basically saying everybody knew I deserved my Baddies chain on Baddies Caribbean. I was the most valuable baddie. Everybody online said it. But Natalie couldn't give me my credit. She had to give the chain to other people like Meatball. So then Tavii baby was like, okay, so why you waited 2 seasons to pop on her or say something to her about it? And DTV was like, I didn't wait 2 seasons. If you didn't see on the Caribbean reunion, when I came out, I tried to get to Natalie. And Natalie ran around the couch and hid behind the couch and told me she wasn't fighting me and she wasn't giving me no clout. Did you not see that? And Tavii baby was like, I saw everything and I still have my opinion. And Diamond was like, okay, well then your opinion doesn't make no sense. I tried to get to her, and give her a head up and told her to square up. She didn't want to fight me, but she kept talking about me and throwing the shade at me. So I realized that the only way I was going to be able to fight Natalie and get to her the way I needed to was to sneak her. And then Tavii basically tells Diamond, I'm not arguing with you, you a hoe. Then back on this bus, they still going back and forth. And Fauna realizes that Summer is using K. Rican's vape. So they all like, oh my God, that's so nasty. Like, why would you use somebody else's vape, especially somebody you don't know and you're beefing with and calling a dirty AB? And Summer's all like, yeah, just puffing on it like she's doing something cute. Like, Summer, you show how nasty you are more and more every episode. You're not beating the allegations of all the baddies saying that cat is giving fish. Because the way you act, I wouldn't be surprised. So they take Lex, Summer, and Dolly off the bus again. And Lex was like, she's learned the hard way that you can't get past security. So there's no point in tiring yourself out. So she's basically trying to tell Summer, like, you need to relax. We need to get off this bus. And when we see them again at the house, then you'll be able to really get off what you're trying to get off. And K. Rican cracked me up. You know how they say somebody cuss so good? She cussed so good. She said, Dolly trying to redeem herself. You better shut up before you F around and catch a heart attack, B. She said, you sick, AB. You be passing out every season, B. You talking about eating cause Tasiki ain't here. Shut the F up. Hey, Rican is funny. She can read. She can argue. I like her. So DTV and Tavii still arguing. DTV like, oh, you just said you was a fan though. You just said you was a fan. And Tavii was like, not a you, not a you. So DTV took her cup of alcohol, water, I don't know, juice, and threw it at Tavii. So Pretty P was sitting in front of Diamond, and she was in her confessional like, Tavii and Diamond, I think y'all want to wait. This sprinter is a little bit too small to be fighting. So she told Diamond, you know what? Let me get behind you because So Tavii baby and Diamond end up going one round on the bus. It did look like Tavii baby kind of fell forward. Maybe she did slip on whatever Diamond had threw on the floor, the juice or whatever. That's what she ended up saying. But when she slipped, fell, whatever, Diamond got on her and she was making her on the top of that head. Like Ivory said in the confessional, she said she was proud of Diamond. She told Diamond, when you get somebody, you hammer that head. And that's exactly what DTB did. Miska Muska Mickey Mouse. So Pretty P was like, okay, so are y'all done now? And Tavii was like, no, we gonna get that at the house because I slipped over whatever she had threw on the floor. And Scotty was like, oh, I thought you was gonna go once and be done. And Tavii was like, no, she threw water or liquid on the floor. Like, I slipped, I'm gonna need another round. And DTB ate this little confessional up. She was like, you know what? This B Tavii is a fan. And she flicked her fan out. Okay. And Tavii was like, no, this is on television. I need to get my lick back and I'm going to whoop DTB's ass. So Tavii baby was like, you could never whoop me. And Diamond was like, girl, you got whooped. So Tavii was like, okay, if you whooped me, I want you to do it again when we get off this bus. So we cut to seeing Natalie and Rolly arrive at the Baddie house. The Cape Town house is definitely a nice house. Rolly says this is one of the best houses that they've ever had on Baddies, if not the best. When they go out into the backyard, they're greeted by this group of African dancers that are prepared to give them a performance. But Natalie basically tells them, hold on, because we have 2 buses of girls coming and I want everybody to be here for the performance. So me and Rolly are just going to grab some drinks. And then when everybody arrives, you guys can perform. Now, I feel like they should have let them perform now and just said that the performance was going to be for the OGs or something. Like, just had it be Natalie, Rolly, and Scotty, so that it could actually be properly captured and filmed. Because Natalie knew that 9 times out of 10, somebody got into it on the bus, and when these girls came into the house, they were going to immediately fight. So if you really wanted to show something from the culture, you should have just said, okay, yes, give me, Rolly, and maybe Scotty a performance for the OGs, and then we'll see if you guys are able to perform again once the other girls get here. Like, actually give us a chance to see the culture. Don't set them up for failure, because you knew what was going to happen. So Dolly, Lex, and Summer arrive, but Fauna, Cole, K, and K Rican are right behind them. So when Summer, Lex, and Dolly first came in, they did go over to the dancers and start dancing with them. But Summer had her back turned to the entrance so she could see who was coming in behind them and win. And once she saw that Fauna, K Rican, and Cole K came in, she immediately ran up on them, and her and Fauna went at it. So once Lex and Dolly realized what was going on, once again, it became a trio versus trio situation. Now, when it came to the Summer and Fauna situation, at first it looked kind of even, but then at the end, I'm not going to lie, it looked like Summer was getting on top of Fauna and she started making her up, but then they broke it up. Then Cole K ran up. It looked like she was running up on Summer, but I guess Dolly felt like she needed to take that, so she took that. Dolly and Cole K was another short round, but it did look like, once again, I'm not gonna lie, it looked like Dolly did a little bit better than Cole K. So I am glad that these new 3 are standing up for themselves and they not scared of Summer, Lex, and Dolly, but they're not really fighting better than them. They not really winning these fights like that. But it's good that they got heart. I will say that. And I do like them. So Natalie and Rolly trying to figure out what's going on. Like, y'all don't even know each other. Natalie like, what is the problem? Dolly gonna say, oh, they think they the trio, B. Like, girl, you pushing 40 and you worried about somebody feeling like they a trio when, like I said, you not even the original trio. It's Biggie, Ahna, and Tasiki. So Natalie was basically like, I need to know what the problem is. And Fauna was like, they started with us. Summer's walking around talking about show me your baddest B. And Fauna ate when she said not you, because I'm tired of Summer always talking about some show me your baddest B. Like, you're never the baddest B, you know? Like, you just started looking a little better, but you still pretty much look dirty. Like, so Fauna explained, like, you know, my name is Fauna. Get it right. It's not that hard to pronounce. And Summer telling me she not going to respect my name. And Cole K was like, yeah, we not going for that. She not going to pick on Fauna and, you know, just start with her for no reason. So we stood up for her. And now I guess we a trio. Like, realistically, they fighting over nothing. But at this point, it's going too far with all of the spitting and stuff. Because Fauna was basically like, we was cool with them and we thought they was cool with us. But then they switched up, which is true. But like I said earlier, it was clear that Summer got offended when Fauna basically said, you just be talking and you don't really be meaning what you say. Summer took that as Fauna not liking her. So she was like, they said they didn't like me when we went down the line. But it's delusional because it's like, Summer, if you're going to ask somebody, do they like you from watching the show, you got to be prepared that everybody's not going to say yes. And it's funny how last season, your friend Lex did the same thing. She was a viewer of the show and she had her opinions about Jayla and she voiced them. Natalie asks Lex, did she have anything to say because she's been pretty quiet? And Lex is clearly just lost in the sauce. She's like, I really don't got no beef with these girls, but at the end of the day, I'm riding with Dolly and Summer, so I guess I got beef with them now. And like I said, everybody feel bad for her. She's choosing to ride with this crew and not check them for nothing that they do or check them when they wrong. So Natalie's like, at the end of the day, y'all gotta live in this house together. So whatever y'all need to get off y'all chest, get it off y'all chest now. So Summer and Cold K square up. So that was kind of a tie. At first, they was both swinging. Then Summer had kind of tossed Cold K on the ground, but Cold K ended up getting on top of Summer, and then she was kind of minking Summer up. And then when they broke it up, Cold K did a quick like stomp on Summer. She was trying to stomp that head in, but she stomped on her stomach instead. So kind of a tie, but if I have to give somebody the win, I would give that round to Cold K. And Summer was all like, don't worry, I'ma get you, I'ma get you. So Natalie says anybody else, and then K Rican decides to throw her drink at Summer, and they have a round. But when K Rican and Summer start fighting, Dolly immediately starts jumping in. But y'all was the same ones who was mad last season when the OGs was jumping in for their friends, right? Then Dolly and Fauna square up. I low-key feel like Fauna kept up with Dolly a little bit. It did look like Dolly hits harder than Fauna, but they definitely was both swinging, and I feel like they was both connecting. But I think by the end of it, Dolly was hitting Fauna so hard that she started losing control and she started to swim. It's also weird as hell that Summer was in the back talking about eat, Dolly, eat. Like, why are you using Tasiki's catchphrase? The African dancers look so confused and appalled. Like, what the hell are we doing standing here? Dolly starts trying to hug Natalie. Natalie's hugging Dolly, Lex, and Summer, talking about she misses them. And then she also goes over to the newbies and gives them a hug as well. On the side, you could see that Dolly tried to go over and hug Rolly. And Rolly really just looked like she didn't even want to hug Dolly back. Like, she barely touched Dolly. And she was like, it's really no reason for y'all to be beefing. Like, for real. And then while Dolly and Fauna was having their round, I guess Lex thought that Cold K was going to jump in. So she tried to run up and she ends up slipping and falling. Like, Lex, you always slipping and falling. You did the same thing at the reunion. Then the dancers finally start performing. Natalie, Summer, Lex, and Dolly are dancing with them. Why Summer, Lex, and Dolly are turning around and bending over and twerking in front of them, I don't know. So then we see Tavii Baby, LCK, Russian Cream, DTB, Ivory, Scotty, and Pretty P arriving to the house. So Pretty P came in and she was immediately on that. So Natalie was like, wait, who has your watch? So she was like, Summer or Dolly? Natalie goes over to Dolly and Summer and she's like, who has Pretty P's watch? Y'all need to give her watch back. So then we see Summer putting the watch on her wrist. And Natalie's like, girl, you need to give the watch back. And Natalie was like, I really don't understand why you can't give it back anyway. You thought it was somebody's bag and it's not even that person's bag. Like, y'all real issue that night was with Ivory and DTB, and it wasn't either one of those people's bags. And Dolly was like, well, it's funny. It's funny. And Natalie was like, okay, it's funny. It might have been a little joke, but now give it back. And Dolly was like, we don't want it. We don't want the shit. So give it back. Why Summer putting it on her wrist then? So Pretty P was like, listen, she done put my watch on, so I'm not trying to hear none of that. And y'all know Pretty P, when she gets to sticking that tongue out, she ready to fight. She happy to square up. So Pretty P like, yeah, I need that because you should have never even put my watch on, period. So first round, I'm going to give to Pretty P. She got Summer down on that couch and she was making her up. But then when they break it up, Summer decides to take the Rolex off of her wrist and throws it in the pond and says, now go fish for it. So Ivory and Scotty look shocked. Like, she really just did that? So I guess at some point, Pretty P must have said something about F Summer's dead mom. So she was like, F who dead mom? F yours, F everything you stand for. Summer even said F Milwaukee, bye-bye to any Milwaukee bookings or fans she might have had. So Pretty P ran up again. That second round was kind of mid. I feel like it was low-key a tie. But Pretty P said she definitely need a third round, and this round she gonna make sure that Summer leaves leaking. And Pretty P did just that. This is how Summer left the situation looking, and this is how Pretty P left the situation looking. Dolly sitting in the background talking about, we all know Summer can't fight. It's not a big deal. Rolly talking about, y'all gonna learn karma is a mother effer. I'm not gonna lie, Rolly. When are you gonna learn that? No shade. Like, you always preaching to the choir, but you don't practice what you preach. But Natalie was like, at the end of the day, I wasn't there. So Pretty P, regardless, if we're not able to get your watch out of this pond, I'm gonna get you a new watch. So Dolly was mad in her confessional talking about, oh, here come Natalie, want to be Captain Save a Ho, talking about she gonna get Pretty P a new watch. But at the end of the day, she don't got her watch right now and she's mad. So I'm happy in the moment. F Pretty P. So then DTB comes out and Natalie is like, hi, Diamond, you apologized at the reunion, so I don't understand why you still coming on the show trying to clout chase with me now and arguing with me on the internet and stuff. And DTB was like, I don't know what you don't understand. We could make up, but when I finally see those episodes air and I see more confessionals of you still talking about me and still throwing shade at me, what you think I'm gonna do? Anytime anybody else on the show throws shade at me online or starts with me, what do? I press them, I fight them, whatever the situation may be. But why do you think you different? Because you the boss of the show. At the end of the day, you still a cast member, and cast members get touched if they run in their mouth. And DTB was like, yeah, I apologized. I apologize to everybody. I'm an apologizing asshole and I'm a clout chaser. So now what about it? Fight me because I want some clout. And Natalie was like, yeah, and that's why I'm not going to fight you because that's exactly the clout you want. So then Tavii steps up and she's like, no, Diamond, you worried about Natalie. You need to run that with me after what happened on the bus. You know you owe me a fade. So they square up. They go 2 rounds. Ivory was in the back trying to coach Diamond, talking about keep your head up, uppercut. The first round was kind of mid. Nobody really got nobody. But the second round, it honestly seemed like Tavii was taking Ivory's advice more than Diamond. She was listening to everything Ivory was telling Diamond to do, and she was doing it to Diamond. Tavii was keeping her head up, and she was uppercutting Diamond. So the second round, I'm going to give to Tavii. Then out of nowhere, Lex comes running up and hits Scotty. And the episode basically ends there. Everybody's confused as to why Lex is running up, hitting Scotty. Ivory and Rolly are like, what the hell is going on? So then we're going to get the continuation of Lex versus Scotty. Scotty's basically yelling at Natalie, looking for Natalie to have her back. So I'm assuming that Summer or Dolly had jumped in with Lex, and Scotty was basically saying they just jumped me. And Natalie was like, I'm right here. And Scotty was like, no, you're not. Next thing you know, we see Ivory telling Summer to run it. Ivory beats Summer up to the ground. So I'm assuming Ivory was probably just tired of Summer in general, but probably sick of Summer jumping in fights. Because Summer did the same thing to Ivory at the reunion. We see the security in the pond. I think they was fishing Pretty P's watch out. Then we see Lex running up on Scotty again. She has Scotty up against this counter and she's just trying to pound Scotty's face in. Natalie kind of has her hand in between them and she's like, Lex, stop, Lex, stop. Natalie and DTB still arguing outside. But then 5 minutes later, we see Natalie talking about DTB, come on, I want to talk to you. And she kind of puts her arm around DTB and starts walking her into this back room. So I guess this is where Natalie and DTB squash their situation. Natalie tells them that there's no OGs this season. Everybody is here simply as baddies. Russian Cream pipes up and says, where is Ahna? Did you fire her? We see Elsie and K Rican getting into it. I don't know why. And then we also see Russian Cream and Fauna getting into it. I don't know why. But it'll be interesting to finally get something from LCK and Russian Cream because these first 2 episodes, we really haven't gotten much from either of them. Okay, for episode 2, my most valuable OGs are Ahna and DTB. My least valuable OGs are Stunna Girl and Natalie. My most valuable new Gs are Pretty P and Ivory. My least valuable new Gs are Summer and Dolly. My most valuable newbies are K Rican and Fauna. And my least valuable newbies are LCK and Russian Cream. Like I said, with the least valuable newbies, it's nothing personal because I really don't know them. It's just that so far they really haven't bought much. They've kind of been playing the background versus the other newbies. But it looks like next episode, like I said, they're going to be more prominent. So they probably won't be least valuable next time. And that's my Baddies Africa episode 2 review/recap. I will be back with the Baddies Going Wild episode 2 review/recap before Sunday when the new episode comes out. Like I said, do not rush me. My birthday was last Saturday. I have work going on. I have school going on. As long as y'all get it within the week, do not harass me. Do not be in my DMs. Do not be in my comments. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. And if you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. I'll see y'all later for Baddies Going Wild episode 2. Bye.